Hello everyone, it's me once again, and we are on episode 2 of our August celebration of our coming to Australia. For this episode, I'm actually here in Ritz-Carlton Hotel in the heart of Perth CBD. So in episode 1, you can see the buildings, but it's far away now. I'm bringing you closer to Perth CBD. And we're here because of our weekend celebration of our anniversary. We actually arrived in Perth August 10, 2009. And so for this episode, I want to share with you the story of what happened to us when we arrived here in Australia. When we left Philippines August 9, 2009, our hearts were full of excitement. My husband and I, and of course the kids, because we're going to a place where we haven't been to, and it's a total adventure for the family, because especially for my husband and I, because we don't know what lies ahead. It's more than the worries, it's more of the overwhelming feeling of excitement of what is about to come. And so I remember we bought everything that we need, like shampoo, everything, soaps, toothpaste, so that when we come here we don't need to spend and we don't need to buy, because we didn't have much pocket money. So we only have 5,000 Australian dollar in our pocket. And this is the story when we are about to leave. About 1 week before we leave Philippines, I was actually asking friends, family, classmates if they know anyone in Perth, so at least there's someone who can assist us when we come here. But unfortunately, no one responded until 3 days before we left. A classmate from South Australia said to me that he has a workmate here in Perth, and he became our angel. He volunteered. His name is Bernie. He volunteered to pick us up in the airport, in Perth Airport, at 12 midnight. We'll always be very grateful for him and his family. I remember when the Perth Airport door opened, initially we thought, I thought everyone said it's cold in Australia. So we were wearing lots of jackets, like 3 jackets. And then when we were at the airport, it's not that bad. We didn't know there's a heater on. And then as soon as the door opened, oh my gosh, there's a cold wind that actually kind of welcomed us as soon as the sliding door opened. I remember telling that story to someone, and she said, maybe it's kind of a good sign that there's a good life waiting for us here. So when we arrived, we actually were so blessed because 3 days before as well, Bernie introduced us to a friend of another Filipino who's actually allowing us to live in her place because she's moving house. So she's not there anymore in the rental property, but then the children are still there, and so she said it's okay for us to stay with them. It's funny because 1 week before we left, I was looking for a hotel because we didn't know anyone. So I was thinking I'll just book a hotel. So I tried to call from the Philippines to book a hotel, and because of the Australian slang, I did not understand a word of what she said. And so I just hung up the phone, and I just thought of, let's just book when we get there. That was the mindset. But then lucky 3 days before we left, someone offered to live in their place, and someone offered to pick us up at the airport. So angels actually are here in earth. And they came into our lives, and we're very thankful. We live in the house of Tita Angie with her kids for 2 years. That's where we stayed, and it's a good location because it's near the shopping center, so we don't need to use the car. We didn't have a car, so we just need to walk. So in the meantime, 4 days after we arrived, we were just, having a good time. We didn't really thought about finding a job. It was just a different feeling being in a different place. Tita Angie also helped my husband to find a job in the laundry in Belmont, in actually 30 minutes or 20 minutes away from our place. So he was lucky because there was no resume, no interview. All of a sudden, he just got a call that he can start. I think in Perth, if you know Filipinos, they'll help you. In the meantime, because my kids are ages 3 and 5 years old. The school in Australia starts at February, so that was August. So there, I went to the school and they said I have to wait till February for the start of the school year. And so for the meantime, I was just while my husband is at work, I was bringing my kids to the shopping center, just a walking distance from us. I always go to the food court and I will always look for Filipino, hoping that I will meet someone and they will introduce me, or he or she will introduce me to someone for a job. That was the goal, because we didn't know anyone, so we're looking for friends. And yeah, my husband works in laundry during that time, and I remember the first 6 months he lost so much weight because it was a physical job. But it was good. I remember his first pay, it's around, I remember $250, I think. And then we have to pay for the house, $200. So we still have $50. So we were able to survive because of the grant of the government. There's a assistance if you have kids, and also rental assistance. If I remember it right, about 500 Australian dollar every 2 weeks we're getting from the government. So it was a good help for us. We were able to pay and send some money to the Philippines for the money we owe to our father, and yeah, it was good. In the Philippines, I was used in working, and my husband is kind enough to do the housework because our farm is just at the back of our house. But when we moved to Australia, it was the opposite. I was left in the house with the 2 kids, and he was the one working, which it's okay, but then that's not really my thing. But I still kept looking in the meantime for a job. 1 month have passed. I still can't find a job. I kept on applying online through seek.com. I didn't have local experience, so it's so hard to find an accounting job. I remember adjusting my resume because maybe my experience is so high, so I make it a bit lower, or maybe there's some positions that my qualification is not enough, so I make it. So I keep on adjusting to adjust for the role, but still, I remember sending around 9 to 10 applications online every single day, but no response, no luck. Until I got tired, I went to the shopping center near us, and then I printed 15 resumes. Because I'm not used in networking. So I went to the shopping center around 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock. I went around, I looked for the shops that I think I can sell their products, and then I handed out the resume, hoping that at least one will call. I handed to even fast foods, KFC, McDonald's, and no matter what kind of job, it's okay. Because I was so desperate to find an accounting job, just to have a local experience here, because I felt like that's the missing link. If I have that, I'll find a job, definitely. And because it's so difficult, I met a Filipina who knows someone who runs a cleaning business to clean boats and yachts. And they're looking for finance officer as well. But the owner wants someone who's like all-rounder, so you can do the cleaning, but at the same time you can do the accounts. So this Filipina told me just to come for 1 day, see if I like it, and who knows, I might land into the accounting job, doing the accounts. So which I did for just 1 day. So I cleaned 1 boat. It's a double-story one, and I know myself, I'm not really good at it, but the other thing is the boat or the yacht keeps moving as I was cleaning, so I felt so dizzy doing that job. And so supervisor after that day, she said that I am quite slow as compared to the others who's doing the job. So I did not come back. I can really feel that that kind of job is not really for me. It's just so hard. The cleaning itself is hard, but then being so dizzy while working is just, I can't do it. So, and I think the supervisor didn't like me anyways, so I did not come back. And then finally, someone called from the shopping center, and it was a pumpkin patch. It was a clothing for kids. So I passed my resume. Luckily, if it's near Christmas, so September, they're looking for more staff so that when it gets busier, there will be more people to cover the shifts. And so it was a casual position. So they offered me a casual position job. Not much hours in the beginning, but because I hang the clothes, so the job is to hang the clothes, to be in the front desk serving customer. But most of the time, because I don't want to answer the phone, because I cannot understand the language, it's so hard for me to understand the Australian slang. And also there's some terminologies about clothes that I'm not aware. And so I just prefer to be at the back hanging clothes. For the meantime, my co-workers, they prefer to be in the front. Well, they're mostly uni students. They're beautiful young Australians, and that job helped me because I was able to understand the language more, and also the money, because it involves money, and also I was able to adapt to the Australian way through that job. One tip that I can give that I think I did good during that time. So I have 2 kids, and so I have to find a job, and no one will take care of them. So in Australia, there's called childcare. If you are a low income in Australia, you will receive some benefits, concessions from the government. So with the childcare, I remember putting my kids for full time, so I can bring them in the morning and then get them in the afternoon. My husband can get them, so that I can free up myself, so I can tell to the when I apply for the job that I'm available all day. It's important because your availability also matters when they hire you. And so knowing that I am available, there's more chances of me getting a job. The thing is, childcare costs a lot. So it's around $600 a week for 2 kids during that time. But because we're on concession, because we're low income, we just need to pay $200, and the $400 was covered by the government. Now this $200, I remember my first week in my job in Pumpkin Patch selling clothes, they just gave me a few hours. So the money I got is the same, $200. And this is the thing. Even though I don't get that much money, I still put them in childcare. I don't really mind about the money I have to spend. But because my hours are open, suddenly different shops, because there's different branches of this clothing shop in Perth, suddenly I became very popular. Like, people needed me because I'm available anytime. So different branches called me to hang clothes. I got the reputation of hanging the clothes so fast. And so I got lots of hours. And so that $200, from $200 to $400 to $600, I earned a lot during that time as in a casual position in the clothing company. And I stayed there for 3 years. Actually, even though I already got a proper job in Department of Finance, I still stayed there during the weekends. So initially, I got so much hours. I was offered a part-time role, meaning it's a fixed hours in a shopping center in that same clothing company, because they like me. So I don't need to go to different places. I just stuck into just one store, which I learned a lot as well, because the manager is very, very nice to me. And while I'm still working in that clothing company, I still pursue trying to find a job in my profession, accounting job. No matter how small the position is, entry level, I don't mind. And one day I got a call. So this company called me. It's a non-for-profit organization, and I was the second choice. So they said the first choice declined because she didn't want the salary. but they called me if I'm interested, which of course I grabbed. I've been waiting for that, and it took me 9 long months to get an accounting job here in Perth. And I don't know, I met friends, and they're accounting graduates too, and somehow they're very lucky. They met someone who introduced them and they got the job easily in just 2 months, 3 months. But me, I kept on being so friendly, but I think it's not part of my destiny to meet someone that will help me. It has always been my own personal initiative and hard work to get something. Nothing is given. By the way, speaking of friends, since we didn't have any family here, thank God we met some Filipino here through school, parents in school. So we're able to know people here, and thank God, because even though we didn't have family, at least we were able to have friends here. We normally travel because Western Australia is a big place and you can go to so many places. So in the beginning, we were traveling to different places in the regional areas, camping, fishing, crabbing. It was good. Actually, I remember when I arrived here, I just felt so good here. The environment is just so clean, and I was dreaming that every relative of mine in the Philippines can hopefully come here. And so I actually did invite some of my family members to come here. My grandmother came here, my parents, both of them, and my aunties, my sister, and I invited quite a number of family and friends, and I'm very grateful for that. While I was working in the clothing company, I still pursue my study. Because I cannot easily find an accounting job, I was thinking maybe because I didn't have the local qualification. And anyway, in order for you to be a member of CPA Australia, based on their assessment, I need to finish 3 more subjects. And so that's what I did from the very beginning. Thank God I did it from the start, because life became so busy after. So I finished those 3 subjects, and then after that, 6 subjects in the CPA Australia curriculum, so I can be a member of CPA Australia, which I finished in 3 years, after 3 years. I was working in the clothing company over the weekend, and then I got the job in the non-for-profit organization as a finance officer after 9 months. While I'm in there, I still continue to kind of look for other opportunities that is available, and luckily I find friends who told me there's a vacancy in the government, and taught me how to apply in there. So I did apply online. I got an interview, I got an exam, I passed, and then the interview, it's a panel interview, and then I was shortlisted, meaning they will put my name for 1 year, and if there's a vacancy, they'll call me. So in the meantime, I was waiting, hoping that, before the 1 year finished, I can land into a position in the government, because government, of course, more secure. No matter what happens, recession, it will never affect your position. However, in the meantime, my husband, after working in the laundry, he got a job as a painter, as a spray painter. He's very lucky in finding job. He didn't need to apply. He was just referred by Filipinos, and it came to a point he's even getting more money than me, because he has better pay and he has more hours, like more overtimes. But it's okay. It's a teamwork, helping the family to start here in Australia. Before the 1 year finished for that shortlisting in the government, I finally got a letter saying that there's an offer for me for a position of financial data officer in Department of Finance. And it's good because it's just 5 minutes away from home. And so initially I was thinking, because I love the job that I had in the non-for-profit organization, and my boss, she really liked me. She offered me a higher pay. If it's just the pay, she said, I'm willing to offer you a higher pay. But then it's not just the pay. It's more of growth. It's a big organization, Department of Finance. So I'm thinking there will be more opportunities in the future. Plus, they offered to pay for my CPAA. So when you are in the government, they're supporting your further studies. So I chose to be in the government, and I stayed there for the next 3 years. Speaking of work, I remember I worked 7 days a week, no rest. So it's like shifting for my husband and I. When he's at home, I'll be leaving for work. That's how I think it is in overseas for husband and wife, especially with young kids, and you don't have anyone to help you. I remember my Aussie workmates in the clothing shop, because I work there Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday to Friday I am in Department of Finance. So 7 days of work. Public holiday, I'm in the shopping clothing shop, because double pay when it's public holidays. It's no rest for me. But we're building a new life, and we really need to settle. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes. My husband is the same. So both of us working really hard to establish a new life. Let me talk about house. I am so proud that after 2.5 years, we moved into our own house. So we stayed in the rental house that we stayed in from the very beginning for 2.5 years. And there was a point when my husband is earning good money. And in Australia, before you can apply for a home loan, you need to have 5% deposit readily available in your bank for 3 months. The money should stay there. And I want to tell this because this is kind of tip for people who just arrived in Australia. What we did was, so we need like, I remember around $20,000. So that's the amount of money that we are expecting to pay for the deposit. So of course my husband he has lots of overtime. So I remember I was getting, we planned of saving $2,000 every month. That's around $500 every week for our home deposit. And it was there. When we reached $10,000, we just thought of, what if we borrow money from someone. He borrowed money from his brother, another $10,000. So the $10,000 we stay in the bank for 3 months. After 3 months, we will take out the money and pay him back. But for the meantime, at least after the 3 months, we can apply for the loan, and we don't need to wait till we save that full money, because during that time it was a good time to buy, because the property is quite low. It's not much. It's not much to buy a property. And so yeah, after we saved the money, so we paid his brother, my brother-in-law, the $10,000. For the meantime, we're able to save the other $10,000. So we have $20,000 savings. Then it's about time to apply for the home loan, and luckily we got our first house. I didn't want to build a brand new house because I was thinking this will not be our last house. This is just the first. I want to buy an established house so that we can move right away. So it's the location, it's near 5 minutes away from my work. So it's very convenient. Plus it's near the city, near the airport. So it's a good location. So we found a house and we got it. And yeah, we lived there. Until now, we're still there. So I'm very happy because in just a span of 2.5 years. And in that year, 2012, that's when I got pregnant with my third child. And it was a blessing. It was not expected because during that time, it was the end of my CPAA and I was taking 2 subjects at a time. And I was working full-time in Department of Finance. And then buying this house. So too much stress, too much things happening. But it's a blessing. God gave us another child made in Australia. That is our little Caden. By the way, when it comes to cars, initially it was just my husband. We bought a $1,000 car. Thank God there's so much cars available here. He needs it for his work. But after a year, I think I was able to have a brand new car. I really want a brand new car because I haven't had one. And I just want to feel the smell, I was thinking we only live once. So I just want to experience a brand new car. And the driving exam, that's when we failed a lot. It took me 4 attempts to pass. My husband, it took him 5 attempts before he passed, but luckily we were able to do it. Initially, I thought, oh my God, this is even harder than the CPA board exam. I think that was the hardest part to pass in my life, the driving test. But then after 4 attempts, we finally got it. Thank God. And I think driving is a must. That is something that I've done from the very beginning. From the day we arrived, I've been practicing. In Australia, it's right-hand drive. In the Philippines, it was left-hand. And I learned how to drive in the province. And so no traffic lights. It's totally different when we came here. So it was a bit of an adjustment how to estimate the road and the road signs. But I think it's a must that when you arrive here, you have to learn how to drive so that you can maximize the time. And of course, in here, time will come. My kids went to a karate class, to swimming lessons. So there's a lot of places that you have to bring your kids to. So if you don't know how to drive, it's just one person. If it's just your husband, it's just gonna be very difficult. By the way, when we arrived in Australia, I remember we didn't have any furniture. We didn't have any. The only thing we bought was a mattress. It didn't have that bed frame, so the mattress was just on the floor, and it was so cold, but it's okay. Even washing machine we didn't have. I wash by hands, so it's okay. As I said in episode 1, I prepared myself physically, emotionally, mentally. But sometimes no matter how much you prepared, I want to share with you my first heartbreak. So because I'm still desperate to find a job, nearly 1 month, I still can't find a job. And I met someone. She said to me, I know a friend who's been looking for a receptionist. It's one of the shop in the shopping center. And she said, don't put your hopes too high because I don't want you to be disappointed. This lady, by the way, she was so kind. She actually bought us blankets because I met her in the shopping center. I told her story, and I don't know, she felt so sorry for us that, family, we didn't know anyone. And she didn't know us, but then she went to the blanket shop with me and my kids, and he bought us 4 pieces of blanket. It was so touching from someone who you didn't really know about us. So, as I said, angels are here on earth. We're lucky to find some of them. And so anyway, she said, okay, come to the interview. I went for an interview and I was not accepted. The owner said because, number 1, I'm studying my CPAA. So she was thinking maybe you will not stay here as a receptionist for a long time. And then she said, I think I didn't know how to drive well because we just arrived during that time. So those were the reasons I didn't get the job. But then Pumpkin Patch called later. But when I got the rejection, I remember, I cannot forget this moment. I just can't accept the fact that I always put myself into someone else's shoes. Like if someone asked me for help, I would, especially a fellow Filipino, if I can help, I would definitely help. So that's how I kind of assess the situation. And during that time, I cannot accept that I was not accepted, despite the situation that we have, that we didn't know anyone, we didn't have a job here. We just came here as immigrants, and I was hopeful that she would help us, but it didn't happen. And I was so disappointed. I remember when I went home, I don't want to show my husband my disappointment, because our agreement was we will be strong, because we need to be strong for our kids. It's just the two of us that we need to really hold on to each other. But I can't help it. I want to cry. I went to the toilet and I was crying so badly. It's like I feel so sorry about myself. I don't know why I felt that way, but it was just a devastating feeling. I don't know, I can't explain. It was just so painful. My first heartache in Australia. But I don't want to show it to my husband. But somehow I think he felt. He went inside the toilet because maybe I was there for 30 minutes already. And as soon as he entered, I just cried so hard. And he said, "Oh, you said we have to be strong. We have to be strong." But I don't know, I just want to let my feelings out during that day. And after that, the following day, I'm okay again. But you know what? After 2 months, I got a call from that person who rejected me. She was asking me if I'm still available. So what she said before was, it's not a rejection. She said that I will just call you. And in the Philippines, when that's the answer of the employer, normally it means you're not accepted. So that's why I felt so bad. But 2 months later, she's been true to her words. She really called me, but I got a job already in a clothing shop. So for this episode, what I want you to learn from is, number one, I think everything has a right time. Be patient. Remember, I was being impatient before, applying for my visa for 2 years. But when we came here, I realized it was a perfect timing, because it's global financial crisis. The government grant, there's a grant from the government for the family to buy their own house. I think now $20,000 grant. So everyone is buying a house, and there's shopping spree. So I think every family, 1,500 was given for them to shop. So it will boost the economy. And because everyone is shopping, there's so many furnitures that other people are giving away. And that's how we started, like plates, dining table, chair. We just picked up from people who are giving us. It's just the mattress that we bought. But everything else was just given by people. Number two, learn how to, I said in episode 1, learn how to dance with the flow of life, dance with the wind, I call it redirection, or just learn how to submit with the plans of someone that is higher than you. So remember, I said I don't want to bring my kids first because I want to find a job first. But then the Australian government required us to go, all of us. I didn't want to go to Perth. I want to go to Melbourne City, but the sponsorship allowed me to come here. So it's like these things I didn't plan. Someone else planned for me, but I just trusted. And looking back, I think bringing my kids here from the very beginning is very, very important. It helped me. I couldn't imagine myself. There's so much disappointments and hard work and tiredness and depression that happened in the beginning. And if my kids were not here, I don't know how I can handle. If it's just me and my husband, my kids are in the Philippines, I don't know how I can handle, because I am a highly emotional person. So I think sometimes we thought we know what's good for us, but reality is no. So you just have to embrace the opportunity or the things that's happening to your life. Do not try to resist. Just submit. The other thing is going to Melbourne and Sydney. I went to Perth. I think this is the best place for me. I went to Melbourne before. I went to Sydney as well. It's kind of a busy place. WA or Perth is kind of more of a province. This is my kind of personality. And this is big, so houses, Some people over east, they live in apartments. We live in a house. So that's my personality. My husband, he likes gardening. So, it's just funny that we thought we know what we want, but reality is we did, and we just have to submit and just give in. When changes happen, you just have to embrace and just trust that everything will fall into place and everything will be good. I think that's very important. The word trust. Learn how to trust. Work hard. No replacement for hard work. Until now, I'm still working hard, but I've never settled. I just keep on working hard because this is a land of opportunity. And I just want to grab all the opportunity that comes our way. So, as a family, very important to protect that value of a family. This is episode 2 of our Coming to Australia. Next week, I'll be sharing with you the next stage of our journey. When I finally met an opportunity and how it changed our life and the places we've been to, the experiences we experienced, so much exciting things I want to share with you next week. Bye for now. See you again next week.